Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters mixtape video. Well, I haven't done one of these in a while, so I thought I would dust this one off and go ahead and focus on a video here for you. As always, these mixtapes just have to do with smaller stories that in and by themselves don't really make up good enough info for a regular video, but instead I mix them together, and then that way I'll be able to share it as one video here. In this case, it has to do with 3 stories that I've come across recently. In fact, probably just within the past week or so, that I've seen these stories both on Yahoo and trending on other news channels. Some of these are actually going to be ghost related, but I thought to myself, they're good enough at least to include here because I want to make sure that you see this information and then you share it from your you give your own opinions on the matter afterward. But the first one is definitely cryptid related, so it has to do with this one story. Has to do with this figure that reminded me a lot of the Gray Man, one that I've talked about in one of my earliest videos. And then the second figure has to do with what seems to be now almost amazing footage of a ghost captured on a security camera. And then the last story has to do with what looks like a hearse or some kind of handle associated with a hearse being lifted there within a museum. So I wanted to go ahead then and share all this info, and let's go ahead and let's start with the first story. So this has to do at a location called the Mourne Mountains, which is somewhere there in Northern Ireland. And the reason why I picked this one is because look at this. Right off the bat, you see that there's something very spooky looking there in the background. So whatever this thing is, it's just casually hanging across the rocks there, almost minding its own business. The thing is, though, it's not supposed to be there. So here's how the story goes. It was just the other week or so, around January 10th, and there was a couple, in this case, a guy by the name of Steve Hamilton and then his girlfriend, Lizanne Hughes. They stated they were there on the Mourne Mountains on a cold morning, and they were supposedly by themselves. They were doing a morning walk, and they claimed that there was no one else around them. They would have surely heard, in fact, that there was one, considering the rocky location and the sound, of course, that walking in all those rocks makes. But there she was taking a picture, or having her picture taken by this guy, and they stated that they were just taking the pictures, a bunch of them in fact, and thought nothing of them afterward. A few minutes later, though, when they were looking through their pictures, they noticed this one, and that's when it reminded me of this. So if you recall, one of my earliest videos was the big gray man, or the Gray Man. In other words, that's a creature of sorts located not in Northern Ireland but in Scotland. And the story goes that this Gray Man is a cryptid or something that is guarding the mountains there, and he comes about and basically makes his presence known anytime someone goes to his location. It instantly reminded me of this story here. What if this is another version of the Gray Man, and it just happened to be captured there in the Mourne Mountains in Scotland? So if this is the case, this could be an actual cryptid or something that's just captured there. It also reminded me too, doesn't it look like Gollum from Lord of the Rings? The way he's perched, whatever this thing is perched across the rock there, almost hanging loosely. I'm sure others thought of that as well too, but it also reminded me of that as well. So, but that's at least this story associated with these Mourne Mountains. Let me know what you guys think with regards to that. What was captured there? Is it another version of the Gray Man? Is it something else altogether different? Again, the couple state that they saw nothing. They heard nothing. They saw nothing. It was to them, they stated it was completely silent when they were up there. So whatever this thing was, it was definitely captured in time through that picture. Now let's go to the next story here. This one is more of a ghostly related side. But take a look at this. This is an image that was purported to be captured on someone's home security camera. This one takes place there in Atlanta, Georgia, and it has to do with her mom and her 21-year-old daughter, who were there at home just nonchalantly watching TV in the bedroom. The mom's name is Jennifer Hodge, and she stated that it was nighttime. She was with her daughter in the bedroom just watching TV. Presumably this was either upstairs or somewhere else, like obviously at the bedroom away from the kitchen. And they have a security camera called Nest. I don't know exactly what that is, but some of you out there may have heard it. But this Nest camera works in this manner. So if it's on and they are in another room, then if something triggers this camera to turn on, either some kind of movement or some kind of noise, then it'll alert whomever has the alert set on their phone that something is happening. So either they'll get a text or they'll get a noise or something like that. And then that way they'll immediately know, hey, someone's in the house that's obviously not supposed to be there. Such is the case as what occurred here. So they got the alerts. They obviously freaked out at the fact that they were the only ones in the house, and yet this alert is coming from the kitchen. And so they went down to investigate, but they didn't see anything. It was just themselves as they expected. However, when they looked back at the security camera, that's when they saw this. And so it looks mesmerizing. Like, it looks something that looks real. This one does not look doctored. I'm looking for the telltale signs usually associated with like a CGI kind of photoshopping type tweaking, but no, it does not look that way. And the reason why this is more personal when it comes to the story is this: when the mother looked at the picture, she was almost like taking a huge deep breath, realizing that it looks like her late son. Her late son was a guy named Robbie, and he ended up passing away a couple years back in 2016 when he was only 23 years old. Unfortunately, he had an overdose when he was taking some Xanax that were considered fake. So who knows what happened, at least with the Xanax, but presumably it was something where it was the wrong type of Xanax, like the fake kind, and it was just too much. And so he ended up passing away, and so the mom thinks that now, 3 years later, this thing, this ghost, in other words, is her son saying hello one more time within the footage. So this looks real. I mean, here's a close-up picture of it. The mom even noted that it even has the beard that her son used to have on the bottom of his chin. So in this case, is this a ghost? Is this something else? Whatever it is, it certainly made a visit, and it triggered that Nest camera. I remember a lot of episodes of Ghost Adventures where they would have some kind of camera settings, and then that way it would help trigger something on those settings as well, and they'd be able to see it. Nothing like this. Nothing as like, let's say, proof as this, the picture itself. So, but that's the second story. And then the third story that I saw trending was this. It's also a little bit more ghost related, but it has to do with a location called Nottingham's Haunted Museum. There was a person there, a guy by the name of Steve Wesson, who went to investigate it because he heard that this place is known to have some kind of paranormal activity. Obviously, when you have the name Haunted Museum on it, it definitely makes sense, that they would have that. So he went there on January 4th. He set up a bunch of cameras. I think he was there either by himself or with some others, but he was definitely there, allowed to at least to be there for a specific investigation. And when he did so, his night vision camera captured this. So I was trying to find if there was any actual footage, because he stated several times in an interview that there's camera footage and that there's video of this stuff being caught. But the way it goes is whatever was near this hearse, it caused the handle on the front, the one I guess that people could either grab onto to pull or push the hearse, or maybe tied to the horse itself. And then that way it was able to then go up or down. And so his camera footage caught it going up and then presumably like fleeing itself back down. That would have made really great footage. Unfortunately, I don't see it anywhere. So I was trying to find it throughout various websites, but it all just seems to focus on this image. One thing though I wanted to share, look in the background. Is there a painting that looks familiar to everyone out there? There's that painting that's also pretty haunted. I think I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's The Hand That Cradles or something along those lines, where it has the young boy, the young woman, or the young girl, and then they have a window behind them, and the hands that are pressing against the window. And this is supposed to be very haunted as well. But there it is in that museum as well. So I don't know if anyone else has caught that within a lot of the other stories, but my eyes definitely saw it, and I wanted to share it with everyone here too. But yes, that's at least the third story associated with it. It would have been better if there was actual footage, but unfortunately I could not find any to link to as well. But what do you guys think as far as this mixtape? We have at the beginning, in this case, a possible gray man captured there in the Mourne Mountains, and then we have security footage of a mother's son, a deceased son, there captured within a home in Atlanta, Georgia, and then finally we have in Nottingham, we have a haunted museum that apparently showcases a foolproof footage of a hearse being moved thanks to a ghost, along with that famous haunted painting in the background. Let me know what you guys think. Any comments associated with it, and then if anybody has any more links that are tied to this, please feel free to post them as well too. I'm also include my link for that long video, the long in the past video, as far as the gray man. Can you believe I did this almost 6 years ago now, a little over 6 years? So how, you know, how time flies when it comes to this stuff. So all right, everybody, thanks again as always. Take care.